Good morning. I'm getting all the screens fired up. I think we're good. I see live here. I see we're good here. Okie dokie. I'm going to bring some positivity in the day. Yesterday I was a little like, oh, revolution, what? Oh, I don't know what this. But it turned out okay. So we're gonna hit it today with a lot more positivity. We're gonna hammer it in because that's what I realized. Like I was listening to an astrology thing. Like I love how I just search for something else comes up. I'm like, well, what's that about? So I'll good morning. They actually made it through breakfast chaos to see. Whoop, whoop. So I was like watching this one video, and it wasn't even what I was wanting to know, but I was like, there's a reason. And it was all about the 11th house. And I've been learning astrology and how it relates in because human design astrology is a part of it. So I'm like, I need to understand all the parts. That's just the way I'm structuring everything. And so right now I'm focusing on astrology, but that's a really big hunk. You think human design is complicated? No. It wasn't for me. Like I got it quick, but the astrology is new for me. And so I was looking in the 11th house because I'm in this course with Bella and Ashley, and we're walking through it. Well, I do everything with them. Like I absorb everything they have. And so we're walking the wheel every week. We're looking at the transits. And I'm like, okay, I've got this down pat. I understand that. But then, we got into the Aquarius season and they're doing this once a month thing, like going through that. And I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. We're learning about the 11th house. And I was like, I don't even know what, like, I need to know more. So the video that popped up was 11th house. I was like, well, obviously I'm going to look at it because what's here for me. And it was all about hope. And because I was at first thinking it's like friendships and kind of, I want to boost that up. I'm a 2-4. I'm supposed to network. I was like, I don't really network. I don't really do friends. I don't do that. And so I was like, I think I'm supposed to. So he talked about more about the hope. And then I was like, oh yeah, hope motivation in my chart. That's what I'm here for. So then it started clicking. I was like, oh, the way he was describing it was hilarious. And what's so neat is I have his book. That's why I knew it was meant for me to look at it because I bought his book several months ago. First time I read it, I was like, this is college level. I am not understanding a word of it. I put it down. I picked it up a month later, 2 months later. I read a couple chapters and I was like, eh. And then I read it again, or I read some of it before I fall asleep. And all of a sudden, all this stuff is starting to make more sense. And then I realized that was the author of the book that I have. I was like, okay, cool. So what does he have to say to me this morning is what I was thinking. And it was all about hope and forward thinking. And it was the way that he described it is if you don't have, like heavy planetary alignments in your natal chart in the 11th house, that it might be a little hard to grasp or understand because you're not like fully, that's not what you're here to do, like the bulk of what you're here to do. And my son is in the 11th house. Like I'm supposed to shine here. And I was like, oh, okay. When it's about hopes and wishes, that was the word that he used. And I was like, okay. I totally bubble minded like that. Like that's all I'm about is being really up in the clouds and forward thinking and this idea of like utopia that hasn't even come yet, but I know it's there. And logic minded people and really negative people in the world, they don't resonate with that. They're like, okay, honey, come back down to reality. But I live up in the hope. And I was like, that's what I'm here to do in the mornings. And that's what I'm trying to figure out with all this like transit and like discovering how to mutate the negativity that the collective is feeling. And that sounds like a really big job. But I was like, hey, I'm here for it because light just, shine a flashlight on the goons and everything runs away. And so interestingly enough, we've got some fun things to stir up, so to speak. And the way that I was entering into 49 was thinking, like revolution is chaos. But today I'm coming at it like, oh my gosh, because that's all right. Let me go over here to this. Where did you go? I'm gonna read what. I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. Harold. All right, so this is from the Jinkies. This is the revolution to live a pure life and to live it well. It begins in the individual and it passes through our relationships and then into our family and society. And each time one person begins to wake up and start to stand out from the crowd, they become a creative rebel. And their transformation is electric and infectious. Some recoil, but others want to know how they can get a taste of that dish. And they ask us, and we tell them, and then they get on board with us. And it's a magical happening at a magical time in history. And if we're one of the awakened, and we are, then we won't be alone. It's a whirlwind. Hello, and will be used as a force to bring others into the same storm, and it's the storm of future rebirth. I was like, what? Okay, well, that's a lot better than revolution and chaos because, I mean, it's so easy to get caught in a storm and just see the destruction. And just like yesterday when I was talking about, we welcome in wild storms because we're in, a drought. And so it doesn't matter if there's lightning and thunder and there's like tree damage, like, so what? We need the rain so bad. And so that's why I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually loving this one now because it's more dramatic, I feel like, than other transits so far. It feels like it's a dramatic thing to be reborn, but the rebirth is beautiful, and a lot of people resonate with this because if you have the cross of the rising phoenix, or let's see, what's another? Well, actually, the cross of Eden is another where it's like you're always rebuilding. I mean, there's a lot of incarnation crosses that this falls under because a lot of us are good at it, right? About this rebirth. Rebirth is just the endless cycle of birth and death and rebirth. It is just the circle of life. I feel like singing Lion King. Actually, the Lion King is a really good analogy because the desert Sahara. It's just so beautiful, and I guess to embrace circling back around and constantly being reborn, I feel like it's an art form that we don't welcome. A lot the people that have this, to have that the incarnation cross that has and there's a cross of cycles, like there's so many. I'm thinking of them now. So it's natural for some people, and even your Pluto placement. Where was he talking about the Pluto being at? Maybe I was thinking about it being the first house. Maybe that's mine because my own personal rebirth, and a lot of that Pluto energy is in the first house. So it's all about me all the time, self-discovering and but it's, yeah, I would say it definitely burn me down all the time now. So we kind of all experience this rebirth in different ways. Like some people, it might be more in like the family houses, and some might burn their businesses down a lot more if it's like in maybe the 10th house, I think they said. So we all have a talent or a knack for bringing about the change, discovering something new, and then let's just not deal with this ever again. Let's just burn it down and start back over. And so I'm going to dive in since we're in gate 49. I talked about this. No, yeah, we're in 49. Yeah, 49.2 today. I wanted to focus on the city because in Gene Keys there's the shadow, which we all know what the shadow frequency is. It's like negativity, negative Nancy. And then the gift, which is at the optimal highest frequency, is revolution. And then rebirth is the city, SIDDHI, not CITY. The city is the highest frequency. And they say that we don't really live in city energy. We kind of just tap it and we're just like experiencing it off and on. I think maybe there's some people who have achieved it and unlocked it, but for the majority of us, it's meant to be this, like this all the time. It's always, we're pivoting back off the shadow because that's part is a very emotional kind of turmoil. We have to get emotional to stir things up so that we can get rid of them, so that we can be reborn in a new, fresh perspective. Okay, let's go to 42 in the book first. I'm pulling from the Book of Lines first, and then I'll go to the website. Okay, so point 2 is being firm, envisioning right outcomes for changes. So recognizing that change is needed, you either hold firm to principles or act for change's sake. Being firm. Your grounded disposition holds you in principles when times of change come. Okay, so there's a foundational energy that you don't want to change when you're doing rebirth, right? Because that's your core. Let's see what the second line over here represents. And I'm on the divination.com I Ching /lookup 49, line 2. Line 2 is what an honest attempt has been made to bring about reform, but these efforts have proven futile. Revolutionary change may become necessary. Okay, so when you're trying, this is like you're kind of half-assing it. You're like, I've been trying to change, but then you're like, this is definitely not working, and I'm going to have to actually put some fire under my ass and make to institute sweeping changes. Take time to visualize in some detail what outcome you hope to achieve. Only by clearly perceiving the nature of a desired goal can the goal be ever achieved. So before you burn your whole life down, before you burn the house down, sit and think, what foundation have I got now that is solid? Like, I want to keep this part, and what do I want to burn down? So this is a little bit of planning and detailed mapping, and I feel like journaling would be good here, and doodling. I love to doodle. Sometimes my doodles are weird. And if also put the date on when you journal these things down, because I think that's a hoot. Whenever I look back at the things that I write down, and then a couple weeks or months later, I go back and I'm like, that was so profound. That was so, like, you can't make this stuff up type of thing, you know? So maybe there's something in your life, relationship. You're like, I definitely want to keep this relationship, but this one over here, it's got to be burned off. Maybe it's something like if you have it strong within yourself this morning, maybe you're like, I'm really tired of overreacting. I definitely want to add some neutrality in. That was, oh my gosh, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here, and then I'll bring it back up at the end, because I know a lot of people come in at the 8:30 mark. All right. This is the stupidest quote ever because it's so easy. And why don't we think about this? But the quote was, knowing that being enough is enough. It makes me laugh because it's like, duh. Wait, what? It's like, hang on, hold up. What? Being enough is enough? So if you're trying something and you're like, I haven't mastered it yet, and like, I can't get this thing, maybe burn away the thought of you're trying to be like everybody else. Can you just be enough for you today? That's kind of what I was talking about to my sister-in-law the other day. It's like, congratulate yourself on cleaning the house. Congratulate yourself on not burning it down, on getting into bed at a decent time. Like, these are stupid, easy things. It should be like, well, yeah, duh. Why aren't you doing that anyways? But like, as a mama, it's like, so be content in being enough is enough. So if you're going in the inside today, maybe when you're thinking about how do I reconstruct and rebirth, and how am I, like, if I'm going to plan out what I want this rebirth to look like, I definitely want to come out knowing that I'm just whole in here. And let me just start out with that. That's the foundation, is like, this right here is just enough for me for every day. And that is good. and maybe burn away everybody else. Maybe burn away the thoughts of like not the thoughts, but like the words that are coming in. Morgan and I were talking about this yesterday. It's a lot like self-love, talk, books, self-improvement, all that's fluff. Living it and doing it, that is a whole different ball game. It means it's like, man, it's like you hear it all the time. It literally just looks like cotton candy fluff. It just wisps around and it's meaningless. I feel like maybe the people that write about it aren't. Yeah, that's what it is. The people that just post stuff like on Pinterest and on Instagram, and they're these light little bubbly posts that are meant, they have good intention, like don't get me wrong, but it's like filler. You want to be the person that speaks from in here and like pulls out everything, and then you're like, here world, take a look at this. And that is where you meet people and you're like switching gears in their brain that what you're actually doing is turning on like DNA, really, if you get down into it. And whole different level. So I think that's something that she and I were talking about there's a lot of like fluff out there. And it doesn't hit home, it doesn't mean anything, but you see it a lot. Well, then actually try to go in today and look at what you got, look at your foundation, and then say, like, this hasn't been working. I've been doing this for 5, 10 years, 20 years, however like long you've been aware of this BS in your life. And then say, okay, I'm kind of tired of being this person, and I'm going to like rise up and come up from the ashes. Okay, yes. Give me a second. I got a book. Wait. I actually have a really good idea. I'm pretty sure I've seen. This is like me winging it. I've got an idea. There's probably a couple of incarnation crosses that have this. Watch this work out. I have an inkling. Let's see. Okay, so I'm in Karen Curry Parker's book, the encyclopedia. Okay, so if anybody that's out there has the conscious sun gate of 49, these people are really good at this, and I would love to I'd love to have a group chat with people who have the right angle cross of the divine translator, because they always have revolutionary ideas. They would be really good at this if they were coaches, because rebirth, hello. I mean, to share revolutionary ideas and possibilities that have the power to transform the way people think, transmit new ideas and possibilities that change how people understand and perceive the world. And actually, that's why I came here. Hold up. Wait a minute. Let's put some common sense in it, because now it's making sense. Where is the Gene Key chart? I'm going to find you. This is good. This is why I came to this one. Okay. I got to find my way down to today's Gene Key chart. Bam, that's it. 49, 4, 43, 23. Bam, that's what we were looking for. Yes. I love this intuitive shit. I don't even have gate 57. I'm not even jealous of people that have it anymore, because now I got it and I don't have gate 57. No. Deal double me. Fantastic. Okay. This is the right angle cross of explanation. Karen Curry Parker calls it the divine translator. This is the, because it doesn't tell on the quick chart for today on Genetic Matrix, it doesn't tell the incarnation cross, but this is the incarnation cross that we're in. Perfect. Okay, cool. Just stay with me. I know I'm weird. This is so cool. Okay. So, yes, that's the incarnation cross of today. That's why I was like, what? There's an incarnation cross that's like meant for today. Yes. Okay. So we're in the divine translator, the cross of explanation. We're transforming old ideas into new possibilities when the timing and the energy are aligned. We serve the world by sharing new ideas that awaken planetary consciousness. Self trust, decisiveness, courage, emotional wisdom, empowerment, authenticity, and vitality. This is that freaky 20, yes, 2343 channel. We're still in that. We're still grounded with um let's see. Actually, I have them right here. We're still grounded today with the philosopher. So we're looking for that understanding, resolution, um, explanations, the need to understand. Okay, so whatever's coming up today, plug the word understanding into it. Maybe you need to be understanding with somebody. Maybe you need to understand yourself, and explain. We're looking for answers. We're providing solutions. We're providing the deeper understanding of things. Let's go with that sentence, providing the deeper understanding of the thing. So, in the world of rebirth, whatever's coming up, whatever's going to be, and I keep saying being burned away because it's kind of like in Revolution, there's like fire. And when you're burning it away, it doesn't come back. So these are changes that, are going to stick. This isn't going to come back up in your face. And this is what I love about the self growth and the study of self is it's a lesson that once you get it, it's not going to come back. As soon as it does come back, you're like you've already mastered it and you look at it from a completely different perspective. And really what we're looking to do in all of life in order to get to happiness is neutrality. And so it's kind of like after you learn the conflict and the turmoil and like let the emotion flare up, let it be an ugly beast because, emotions are sometimes ugly. After you've mastered it, you're like, okay, it's neutral. It's kind of like when you're playing Mario Brothers 3, I think it is, when you're going through the worlds, I can't remember which one it is, but it feels like when you're going through the map, it's like you can't go back. Maybe on one of them you can, but I feel like on this journey in life, let's just pretend like it's Mario Brothers Infinite World, where like you go through that world and you master all of it. You don't need to go back. There's no reason to go back, and you can't go back because it's grayed out. So it's like, yeah, you've completed it. Just keep going forward. And the stuff that's in that world, the Bowser or whatever his name is, he literally has been defeated. It's no problem. Like, keep moving. Okay. Yes. Writing a cross of explanation. Let's look at, because I love my incarnation cross books. Okay, I got it. Let's look at this one and another one. We're going a completely different direction today. Okay. Dude, this is so much fun. I got 2 books. Let's look at the cross of explanation. I just saw it in my favorite one by Brynja Magnuson. Okay, cross of explanation is, here's the quote. Okay, so when you're dealing with the 49th gate, you're dealing with something that is very, very important, very significant, and very deep in all of us. The explanation of an emotional principle of what the community needs. If you're a fourth world person on this cross and you look around you, your principles of what your community needs is very different from ours, obviously. The whole thing is to understand about this cross is that it is always trying to get to a place of fairness. Now, that's tough to satisfy the emotional need for fairness, but what's fair depends on who's in your tribe. It's not like this is an absolute. It's not like this is a fact. It's not like it's the truth. It's just relative. It's emotionally relative. That's Ra Aruhu, the one who brought about the human design. Communication, solutions, and ideas. Okay, so the cross of explanation has within it the entire 4323 channel of expressing unique inner truth. And I know that if Burgundy, if you're still with me, that you have this channel too. So there is potent theme of verbal expression of ideas. The cross of explanation revolves around communicating the emotional needs of the tribe. And the 4th gate holds a theme of creating formulas, which also assists the collective message that the cross of explanation can provide for the community. Those with this cross can explain or translate formulas for efficiency, formulas for acquiring travel needs like safety, food, and emotional support. And they explain to us the principles of the group. They can bring verbal understanding into community settings in order to identify and translate the words of the needs of those around them. So we're all looking for these new ideas explained in our inner voice, because this is not just a person that has this cross. This is all of us today. We're all feeling the cross of explanation. So I love this. Let's go one more. This is The Book of Destinies by Cheaton Parkin and Carola Eastwood. Okay, 49. This is so good. Let's see how this one has to say. This is me getting to be the nerd I always wanted to be. Okay. Inform, explain. You feel quite attuned to what you're saying. And then sometimes today somebody might be like, what are you talking about, you weirdo? But we're communicating with a wide spectrum of people to make ourselves understood. We might want to blurt things out if it comes out of the divine timing today. So be careful. We're still in that weirdness. But we're looking to express principles that carry relevance and value for the world. This to me translate as wisdom. That's like, if I could just bring out, it's like that foundational nugget that we're looking to hold on to, that we're not going to get rid of. That to me just says wisdom. You don't want to burn away your wisdom. You want to hold on to that. So anything that's the opposite of wisdom today, burn that off. If it's chaos, if it's discord, let's look at the shadow of the 49. The reactionary need, the need to react. Okay, like it said, like emotional overreactions. Okay, so that's fun. But also, what's the programming partner? 4. Let's look at the shadow of 4. Intolerance. So overreactivity and intolerance. Let's burn that off today. Let's get rid of that. Overreactant and intolerance. Now, I need more. Let's look up the definition of intolerance, because there's a keyword. I'm thinking it's confrontation. Intolerance. Unwillingness to accept views, beliefs, or behavior that differ from your own. Okay, that's what it was, the behavior. And that's where I'm getting the non-confrontation, because so today we have the full channel of 35 to 36. And 49 is in design and personality, and it's reaching down for 19 for that sensitivity. And that's why I personally am feeling repellent of today, of this. Like again today, I woke up, I was like, no, I do not want to do this. I don't want it. I did the same thing today. I was like, I'm tired. I want to lay in the bed. I don't want to get up and go live. Like, I am not here for that. I did the same thing. And again today, I was like, no, stick with the commitment. Something good happened yesterday. Something good can happen today. And so this, I think intuitively, I'm sensing when something's good coming for you, and it's like you're kind of scared of it and you don't go into it, you miss the blessing. And that's basically what I'm trying to say, is like, I'm almost feeling like run away from it. Just stay safe. Run away from it, because you don't want to publicly admit that you're a coward about emotions. You don't want to admit that you avoid confrontation like the devil, And so I need to personally burn away today the intolerance. That's the shadow word, right? The intolerance of behavior that differs from one's own. So if somebody is emotionally overreactive and somebody is emotional storm, emotionally defined people, the non-confrontation side of me says, no, just don't deal with that. Don't even. So I need to burn that off today. I need to burn off the fact that I'm being a chicken ass. And I need to, what was the word? accept the behavior of people that differs from my own. Which is hilarious because last night I just totally operating in Shadow Freaks. Last night I loaded a reel that had me being like all like up in my best self, and I was like, you need to accept and blah blah blah, and it was like an older video, and I remember making it and I was like, damn, this is good. Accept and approve and blah blah blah, and I was like being all like, I know my shit because I was in a really good space. And then and then today I'm literally hearing that words like of myself burn in my own head, accept other people's behavior. So I need to burn off the intolerance. Got it. Noted. I hope this is for you too, because I'm getting as much out of it as y'all are. Oh, and there, okay. So I'm looking at today's Gene Key sequence, and I was immediately drawn to what attracts us today is humility and leadership in that. So, and there's a lot of universal love wrapped up in our how we relate to each other today. So humility and universal love and forgiveness, all those are big things. So let's look at those are our foundation things. That's what we want to keep. And we want to get rid of the constriction and the intolerance and the arrogance that comes with, I don't know if arrogance comes with avoiding confrontation. I think it might be translated that way though. Like the other person that you're walking off from thinks that's just an asshole. They're so snotty, they're arrogant, but really it's I can't handle. Oh, I just had a person come to mind. Yeah, it's the wound of I can't handle what you have. And they run away. And then we view that as a snotty, arrogant, asshole person. Wow. So good. Let's see. Illumination. You stinker. Illumination. You are such a stinker. That's a set. Okay. And this is me. Where did it go? I know I shuffled it too. It's gone, isn't it? Pulled Illumination earlier in another deck. And I was like, I don't think that feels right. So I tucked it away and shuffled it. Pulled another deck. My fun color deck. Illumination is here again. Okay, I got it. Illumination today. That's my sun gate. So that's what I'm here to do. And I'm here to bring happy and hope to y'all. So let's shine the light on that, on the goons. The goons of today are intolerance. The goon of the day is of running away from emotions. I think I need to scooch over a little bit because on this screen I'm not centered. Okay, this is so good. So let's shine a flashlight on your inner goons. What have you got? Because actually, they're not that big. They're not that scary. They're kind of like a little hobbit, like that little Gollum. They're actually scared of having light shined on them. So just do it. Shine the light on your little inner Gollum. And let's burn it off in the revolution of our spirit and then rebirth and just turn into rebirth. So good. I couldn't plan this if I wanted to. If I tried to plan a speech and make notes, it can't come out this. It's not me. I'm not doing it. I'm just a vessel. It's so good. And just like that, I feel complete. Man, I got that quick. I'm 35 minutes in. I don't even have to go a whole hour. Dang. Okay, well, let's just for shits and giggles, let's shuffle this one. This is wild because I was in that 4-hour class with Bill and Ashley. You did it too? You were in the flight. Sovereign flight? The airplane flight? That is hilarious. I was too. Yay, high five. I was so triggered by a couple of them. Yeah, the little girl one, being a good girl, that was a big one for me. Because at first when they brought them up, they were like, "There's 4," and everybody's like, "Oh, the wolf, or something." Maybe I'm mixing it up. I can't remember. Yeah, the sovereign flight. Yeah, I was stuck at the bottom, but I was like, "No, no, I'm living in the top tier," but yet I still have this inner like, be a good girl, um, shadow. That was a good, honestly don't know how they've done 4-hour, multiple 4 hour the stamina. I wear out. I fizzle out after an hour. Yeah, everybody's out there with the wolf. They were like, wolf, wolf, wolf. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. But like, I've been through all of that. And I still am, like, being honest, I'm still dealing with trust yourself. Okay. I'm going to go with this one. And I feel like in dealing with the foundational energy, this is the good girl shadow was big for me. The pressure cooker. Yeah. This one says trust yourself. And I love it because it's got a bunch of animals. And a sloth. Can you see? That's so cute. I love it. Okay, let's read. What number is it? 31. Let's see what this is. I love tying all this together and making a story out of it. It's the best thing ever. So fun. I did not know that this is what we were turning into. Okay, you're wise. You know how to grow even without knowing how you know. And that sentence that I said earlier about just know that being enough is enough, that's trust yourself. I totally threw the card down, but that is trust yourself. That's knowing that whatever you are is all you can be. So enjoy it. It's enough is enough, right? Like the ancient forest, spectacular galaxies, and the acorn that becomes an oak, there is a natural intelligence for growth that is beyond logic and reason. It just happens. At the deepest levels, we're governed by this force that is so palpable that it literally shapes the world. And at the same time, it's so invisible that we forget its presence and worry that our minds have to work everything out for life to happen for us to be all right. So, this is the message of that we're growing, which is like an acorn falling off the tree, and the tree probably thinks like, "Oh, it's sad. I'm losing my fruit." Like, "Oh." And then the rebirth is the acorn turning into another oak. It's the same thing. It's a cycle. It is the rising phoenix. So you're asked to be in trust in yourself. Heed your own wisdom. There's the word wisdom again. So it's like, yeah, you've got this. This is a lot about deconditioning too, honestly. Human design and deconditioning is the biggest and we talked about this yesterday with Morgan too. There's so much of the outer. There's so much of the voices that you're hearing, especially with religious circles, churches. These women are so vocal about you not doing it right. They're so adamant that they are right and you are wrong. And to get back down into yourself and know who you are, know that you're doing just what you need to do. That's where the freedom is. So this says not to resist any points of instability. Instability is a growing pain, and it's not a sign of sickness but growth. So let's add the word instability in with. So we're looking for our foundation. What feels unstable today? That's one of the things that we're going to burn off with our revolution. And I'm loving forgiveness. The word, because that's Jinky 4. That's what we're grounding in today. Forgiveness, it for ourselves. Maybe you need to forgive other people, but forgiveness of beating up on yourself and thinking that You're not good enough. Remember, because enough is enough, right? So we're thinking you need to forgive yourself. And that is the foundation. Wow, that's so good. Okay. Man, I feel full now. We didn't even get to talk about anything other than maybe this whole thing is turning into the celestial forecast, and my interviews are the talk show part. I mean, this is talk show because we're going back and forth, but you know what I mean, like interviews and stuff. Because this is so good. It just keeps like just pouring out and pouring out. And what turned out for me as something that I was worried about doing and something that I was dreading, like it would be so much better to sleep. And that, today is just looking like shit. That is the thought that I woke up with. It's like, let's not, and now it's turned into like, okay, I'm powered up and I'm going to go out and be the hope for all my friends and be the, like, because just like, let me go back and let me read that one more time because it was so good. Let's end with this. This is the revolution: to live a life and live it well. It begins in the individual, and then it passes into our relationships, and then into family, and then out to society. And each time a person begins to awaken, they start to stand out from the crowd and they become a creative rebel. And their transformation is electric and infectious. Some recoil, but others want to know how they can get a taste of that dish. They ask us and we tell them, and then they get on board with us. This is a magical happening at a magical time in history. And if we're one of the awakening, we are, then we won't be alone. We're a whirlwind and will be used as a force to bring others into the same storm, the storm of our future rebirth. That is just bingo. So, kind of chart out what outcome you hope to achieve. That was line 2 in the I Ching. So, who you are in your true heart and your true self without the conditioning of everybody, what outcome does that person want in life? And then rebirth yourself into that person. So we have a couple of more days left in this transit. It'll take us through the weekend. So keep that in mind. And I'm not going to be live tomorrow. Like, I need Fridays off because this is a lot to pour in. So just absorb all that. And then before I get off, we have a couple more minutes. I'll go ahead and read through the rest of the lines so you have an idea of what you can look forward to in the weekend. So line 3 is: initiating action at this time could bring negative results. Even when change seems very necessary, it's not skillful to proceed with haste or ruthlessness, as it could invite disaster. Even though not every demand for change should be heeded, an opposite error lies in excessive hesitation, which is also not advisable. Examine and consider the situation thoroughly. Timing is important. Don't be led astray. So kind of think about that. Like, don't force the revolution. Don't force the mutative change within you. Don't it is not skillful to proceed with haste, because that could invite disaster. So that's just like, trust this whole process. You're now aware of it. You're now aware of what you need to burn out and what you're going to hold on to and what you're going to get rid of. And you are aware of the hopes that you want to achieve. So just sit with it and contemplate it. There's no rush. That's going into that. The next day's line 4: making a radical change requires the appropriate level of authority. The emphasis is on unselfish motives and broad, mature views. Be especially weary of pettiness and narrow thinking. So stay humble through all this. Line 5 is fortune favors the bold and the strong of heart. Go ahead and make necessary changes. You know what to do. Don't stand on ceremony and don't consult an oracle. Don't call home for advice. Just do it. So this is line 5. This will be carrying through over the weekend. That would be, hang on, we're in 2. So 3, 4, 5. So maybe on Sunday, I don't know, take this for worth, but maybe around Sunday, see if it might be Saturday or Sunday, see if then is the time. And then Monday's on 6, and I'll be back for that. Major objective is being reached, only the fine tuning remains. Okay, so it looks like over the weekend, whatever's boiling in the pot might come all the way up and out. So we're going into it peacefully. We're going to it looking for the understanding, looking for the parts of all this thing that's coming up and out. And then all of a sudden the lid will come off the kettle, and then you'll feel that release, and it will feel so much better. Always does. Just like after the storm comes through and the rain has soaked in the ground, all the plants are happy. Everybody's been watered, and the dirt's washed off the pavement and everything. So it looks so much better after the storm. So Monday, we're looking for it to have some relief from this kind of I guess you'd say mutative pressure of the revolution that's coming up inside of you. And it's a positive thing. We're looking forward to it. It's a good thing. Okay. So do we all feel complete? Do we feel good and happy and excited about the rebirth and what's the other word? The rebirth and hang on, there's another word coming through. I want to say freshness. Yes, that's the word. We're excited about the freshness that's coming from it. Yes, I am excited about it. Okay. I think that's all for today. And wow. Like, I feel like I need to take my hat off to let the steam out, Like my brain is just impressed at all that came out. Not me at all. I can't make this stuff up. I can't even. It's so good. All right. Okay. Peace out, homies. I will see y'all Monday, and I look forward to hearing what happens over your weekend. Like, bring your stories to me because I'm really digging this. This is so fun. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye.